Hi, Mark Reedy here. Just wanted to go over the driver history function on TATEMS. So we'll go over adding a driver that's already in the personnel file to equipment. We'll add a driver that's not in the personnel file to equipment. And we'll look at the driver on equipment reports. And then we'll take a look at the driver on equipment spreadsheets that are available over at tatems.com/spreadsheets. So let's go ahead and get started. So to add a driver to a piece of equipment that's already in the personnel file, you basically just double click down here in the driver history and you're going to select from the drop down. I'm going to go ahead and select this person here and we'll put in a starting date that they started on the equipment. So we'll just go 01/01/2016. We'll go ahead and save and close that. And then we can double click on him to edit him and say we're going to close him out and he's no longer on that equipment. So we'll just say 11/15/2016. So he's off the equipment now. And now we will go ahead and add a driver that's not currently in the personnel file to a piece of equipment. So I'm going to double click here and I'm going to click add another driver to equipment. And now I'm going to enter in a number that's not currently in the personnel file. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 78, hit tab. It tells me it's not in the list, asks me if I want to add it. Click OK. And now I'm going to put in person's name here. And I'm going to do something that will cause him not to get added here. And then I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and click on close and we're going to get this message that says text you entered isn't in the list. So I'm going to click OK there and now I'm going to hit tab again, so he's not in this list yet, and I'm going to hit tab again, click OK, and we can see here that we're going to add 78 again, but why is the 78 not in there? So let's go ahead and sort this by assigned number. We'll scroll to the bottom. You can see that 78 is in there. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And that'll just overwrite that one that we started to add. He hasn't actually been added yet, that new 78. So we can see 78's there, and the reason that he was not in the list when I double clicked in the driver history is because we don't have him selected as a driver. So once he's selected as a driver, then we can add him to the equipment. All right, this is just so that the list doesn't get cluttered up with drivers and technicians. Same thing with the work orders. You don't want the drivers and the fleet technicians to be available to do work on work order. It's going to be one or the other, or unless they're selected as both a driver and a technician, then they would show up in both places. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and click close here, and you can see that Jim Smith is now in here. We didn't get that error message, and we can go ahead and put in a starting date, and I'm going to go ahead and click save and close. And we can see Jim Smith has been added and Boyd Westerman has been added. He's already finished his tour of duty on that piece of equipment, and Jim Smith is still active on it. Alright, and then if we wanted to, say we want to delete Boyd, we can go ahead and double click on that. That brings his record up. We can just delete that and save and close, and it removes him from the list altogether. Alright, so that's basically how you add a driver to an equipment who's already in personnel. Also how to add a driver to equipment that is not in the personnel file yet. Just remember to always check that box that says driver, and then even if they're not in, if you think the personnel is in the list in the personnel file, if the driver's in the personnel file but he's not showing up, what you can do is you can go up here to forms and then personnel, and then you can select somebody that is not chosen as a driver, and then you can set them up as a driver. I don't know if I've got any here. Okay, this guy here is only a fleet technician, so you could set him up as a driver and then he would show up in the list. He doesn't have a number. You should always have a number there. They're not going to show up either. So we'll just give this guy a number, we'll say 50 for example. All right, so that's how that works. And then to take a look at the reports that are available for drivers on equipment, we're going to click on reports and we can look at the current equipment report, and then we go down to driver history, and that's just going to show us for this piece of equipment which drivers have been on that piece of equipment over what date ranges. All right, so that's that simple report. And then we have underneath reports, all the equipment reports, we have 2 driver history reports down here. And we'll look at this top one here, driver history, all equipment by driver. And so this has each driver listed and then all the equipment that he has been active on. All right, and then if it was entered in there, it's going to have when they began and when they ended on that equipment. Okay, and then we have the other one here, driver history, all equipment by equipment. And this basically has each piece of equipment, and then it's going to have the multiple drivers that have been active on that piece of equipment if there has been multiple drivers. I'm going to just show you that real quick. We'll go ahead and add in somebody back to this list here. So we'll add him in there. We'll go 01, 01. And go ahead and finish them up. These dates can overlap each other. That's okay, so that you might have 2 drivers on a piece of equipment over a certain date range. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save and close that. So now you can see there's 2 drivers listed on that equipment. Go back up here to reports, all equipment reports, and we're going to look at the all driver history, all equipment by equipment. We can see here on number 40 that we have the 2 drivers listed on there as being on number 40. All right, so then we can look at these other reports, or actually they're spreadsheets. If you go to tatems.com/spreadsheets, and if you press F3, typically on most browsers, you'll see a place where you can do a search for text on the screen on the browser window. And so I've typed in the word driver, and there's 4 entries for the word driver. I could have also done personnel to find possibly some other reports related to personnel, but we're just going to do driver here. So this first one is driver's license renewals grouped by months. So it'll show every driver's license renewal for each month of the year when they're due to be renewed. All right, it doesn't have anything to do with the driver history though. So this one here is repairs done with certain drivers on equipment. So that one there, if I click on that to open that one up, go ahead and download it. Okay, I'm not going to link it up to live data, but you can see what fields it's going to show you. So it's going to show you the equipment number, description, year, make, model, and then the driver name, when they started on the equipment, when they ended on the equipment, work order ID, a work order date, and total cost. So basically it's going to show you all the costs that were done during that period while the driver was on that equipment. Okay, and then this other report here is the next one down. We'll scroll down. We have this driver efficiency report. We'll go ahead, and there's a blog entry and a video that'll show you how to use that one too. And this one here shows you the average miles per gallon or kilometers per liter that they got while they were on the equipment. So that's going to look at the fuel log, and it's going to determine the date they started, the date they ended, and look at their overall miles that they traveled and the overall gallons that were consumed over that period of time. So that's that one. And then let's see here, the final one is just the overall miles traveled per equipment for each driver. And so on this one you can see same information: equipment number, equipment description, driver, when they started, when they ended, the beginning odometer and the ending odometer closest to those dates that they started and ended on, and then the total miles for that particular driver over that period of time for that equipment. All right, hopefully that's helpful for you. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a good one. Take care.